I don't really know if it was the type of video I did or whatever, but the TV video, the first TV video I've done back from being back on the channel about a show that I have actually now started watching, it's done quite well given what the show is, given how big the channel is. So it's got 10, 11 views, which for 96 subs of just movie content and news-related stuff, I call that a win. Which is why I'm doing another TV show video today, and this time we are talking about The Last of Us Season 2, as it casts 6 new actors, including a soprano star as a game character confirmed for an expanded role, like Season 1's Bill and Frank. The Last of Us Season 2 has officially cast 6 new actors, including one who will expand upon a character from the game. After the first season was released to massive acclaim in 2023, the video adaptation returns to the small screens this spring for a premiere on Sunday, April 13th. It will feature the return of leads Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal, along with supporting performances from Gabriel Luna, Rutten Weasley. New members of the Last of Us Season 2 cast include Caitlin Dever, who is playing Abby, Isabel Merced, and Young Manzo. The series is created by Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin. Gotta love Neil Druckmann, yeah. As per Variety, 6 new cast members have been announced to join The Last of Us Season 2 cast, including Joe Paterno, Alian O'Buck, Ben Allers, Hettina Park, Robert John Burke, and Noah Lamont. Patino is playing Eugene, a minor character in The Last of Us Part 2, who will be expanded for the TV series rendition. Burke will play a bar owner named Seth. Lamar will play Kat, who used to date Ellie. The Haylers Park, Eubank will be Burton, Lisa and Miranda, respectively, who are original characters for the series. Reed Druckmann and Mazin's kind of below. The game has so many little flourishes, you find notes that have their own little story to them, says Mazin. Druckmann then goes on to say, I get excited when I see the opportunities. I'm like, oh, I don't know Eugene that well. The story we told in the game was somewhat superficial, because the game wasn't about them, and I don't believe the show would be as well, but hey ho, this is where they want to go. The Last of Us breached off the game before. This is from The Last of Us. This is far from The Last of Us' first time expanding characters who are introduced in a similar capacity in the source content. While Bill is a side character seen on screen in the first game, who references his partner Frank, the debut season of the HBO series decided to expand Bill and Frank's story into an entire standalone episode. Long time. Though the episode was initially review-bombed at the time of its release, it's now regarded as one of the series' most stunning moments, and earned actor Nick Offerman an Emmy for Outstanding Guest Actor. Eugene plays an even smaller role in the game than Frank in The Last of Us Part 2. The character is only seen in a photograph and is referenced in dialogue when Ellie and Diana stumble upon a lab Eugene used to grow cannabis. This will give the show's creators a chance to explore a unique character and potentially create expanding content as exciting as that in the first season. Patonio is a seasoned actor who previous credits include playing a recurring role in The Sopranos, so he has what it takes to offer a great performance. The Last of Us casting news showcases the show's dual commitment to making new content while still honouring the original game. Naughty Dog's second game installment is not nearly as beloved as the first, making it strategically wise to take some departures from the original story. Mazin has said previously that he hopes to divide the second game into more than one season, so delving deeper into the characters and expanding side characters from the game will allow the TV show to do so organically and still have plenty of content to cover in Last of Us Season 3. I think this is the thing, right, with The Last of Us Season 2. It's based on the second game, which is not by far. Like, if you look at PlayStation's games, The Last of Us 2 would probably be down there. It's a damn good game, but it did destroy... It destroyed what people wanted. Caitlin Denver's character, Abby, was one of these characters where people didn't like her to begin with. Like, nobody liked Abby. Right? And I mean, I think Caitlin Denver looks sick in this photo. Let me pull up the photo real quick. I'm kind of expecting Abby to have a very minor role in this series. I'm expecting Pedro Pascal to have a more bigger role in the second season compared to what he had in the game. I mean, what Joel had in the game, I should say. And the reason for that is because there is so much content between 1 and 2 that was never touched upon. And the fact that part 2 isn't, like it says, is not beloved. It is not loved by many. I like the game. I think it's charming. But and the game, don't get me wrong, the game is loved, but what I mean is there's parts of the story that isn't. Such as the crap ending, the crap beginning, and the middle's okay. Maybe like, what do you mean with crap beginning and crap ending? The beginning was great if the ending was what people wanted. But because the ending wasn't what people wanted, it made the beginning really shit. I remember when it first came out. Of course, spoiler alert for Last of Us 2, Last of Us Season 2. I don't even know if it's a spoiler or whether they're even going to defer from it or whatnot. They might just defer from it completely. But Joel dies, man. Like, there's no coming back from what happened to Joel in Last of Us Part 2. And the fact they're using side characters to fill in episodes sort of suggests to me that they're trying to put maybe a bit more of a premise on, hey, we know it's not great, what happened in the game, people weren't really happy about, but in Season 2 we're going to expand on Joel. Excuse me. We're going to expand on some characters like Eugene. Who cares? Right? Eugene was mentioned once, like it says in the photograph. They picked it up, and he was a brief handoff mention. Never met him in the game. These other characters they've discussed about, I need to replay the game because I can't remember them. What I would have preferred, and this is honestly the truth, and this is what they should have done, right? They should have done the 8 episodes as Ellie through the beginning. You set the prologue up in episode 1. Then you have her 3 days across 7 episodes. And then you redo the prologue, literally just take that episode, put it back out, and go, we're going to do a two episode release on the same day. The first episode is exactly the same. Or try and make something a bit different for Abby's beginning. Maybe do her backstory then on the first episode. And then them 7 episodes be her 3 days. And then for season 4, you drag out, you then start telling these other stories with these characters, and you're wondering where are we going to get to the ending of this, and then they end it, and then they give you the crap ending. I think it'd be very smart for them to have done the 8 day with Abby, the 8 episodes, 3 days with Abby, 3 days with Ellie, because for a 45-minute episode show with 8 episodes, and I think it's going to be 8. Might be 10. I might be wrong. How long did The Last of Us run for, episode count wise? 9 episodes. Right? So, given the fact that we are on... So we have 8 episodes to dive into Ellie and Abby's days, right? I don't think that's enough time to cover everything in what happened in those days. You don't need to cover every little detail, but, if you want to do the backstory, you can do the backstory there. You get your 3 seasons then. And you wouldn't compromise the story. Because maybe you do start episode 1 with the 8 days. With the 3 days. And then on episode 9, you have previously on The Last of Us season 2 and 3. And you sort of cross the story over. And everyone who watched season 2 will be rewatching season 2 before the final episode of before the final episode of The Last of Us Season 3. You then get your big wow moment, the final battle that you've been waiting for. Bit like Game of Thrones, the finale of Game of Thrones. And then you realise that HBO has done you again. Because that's what's going to happen. Because no one on this earth can tell me that they actually sat there, finished The Last of Us Part 2's ending and thought, that is the best ending they could have come up with for that scenario. I think, you know, I'm not mad they're branching into other TV characters. Into other game characters. I'm not mad they've brought in new characters altogether. But when you don't have much time and you're trying to squeeze 3 days of each person's life, bearing in mind they have completely different stories and different motivations for this quest, right? I just think it's a little bit strange. And you can say, well, they expanded on Bill and Frank's story. Like, they did. But Bill was a very big part of The Last of Us 1's story. He was a side character, but he was a very big part. And Frank was mentioned. They mentioned that they were partners. So it was kind of like, let's just show you what we would have liked to have shown you in the game. Let's show you. I don't think Eugene was ever a thought for them in the game process. Because if he was, you could have put a little chapter where you go and see Eugene, and he's, you know, and he's out as well, or he's, you know, there's things that you could have done there which they didn't, which is perfectly fine. But don't sit there and say, oh, you know, we want to stretch it to 3 seasons, milk this cash cow while we can. Sounds like Neil Druckmann, all right. Not throwing shade at him. I just think what they should have done is told for season 2, in my opinion, they should have told the 14 years we were missing. They could have made a great story. You know, they could have made this show 15 seasons long. You know, you have the first season that tells the first part of the story. You then have the 14 years, and then you do your big payoff. Not saying they'd have done all 14, 15 seasons. Not saying that at all. But they could have done a different story than The Last of Us Part 2. But they're doing Part 2. But it just seems odd to me that they want to defer to other characters while they've got to tell this massive story. Unless they are splitting it up. But then, are we not going to see much of Caitlin Denver in this? I don't know. I think what I want for this, it's a 10 episode with a supersized 90-minute opening installment. Oh, no. Season 1 was plotted for a 10 episode run. What's season 2? Sorry, I read that wrong. We don't think that we're going to be able to tell the story even within 2 seasons, 2 and 3. Save our time and go down interesting. So they're going for 4 seasons with this thing. So chances are I am right. They are literally going to take their time with this. But I just think, if Caitlin Denver's been on the set, yeah, you kind of need her for the prologue. But I can literally imagine she turned up for the prologue, like the beginning of the show, episode 1, which is the prologue in my eyes, because that's the prologue to the game. Because chapter 1 really is when you start as Ellie. And they're like, yep, yeah, right. You take this bat and you just swing it at him. Right, now that you've done that and you've become the most hated person on the internet, because you've now made people watch a live action Joel die, you now sit out for the rest of the show. And we're going to bring you in for season 3. And then we're going to tell your story in season 3. But it's going to be okay, because people will learn your story and might like you. I felt sorry for Abby. I understood why she did what she did, but still, really shit way to go. I'm going to leave this video here, because it's just me rambling on about various things, and I'm excited for season 2, man. I just don't know where they're going with this. But it releases in April. I'll be checking it out. If you guys want to do a review of every episode, let me know. I'll happily do the reviews of every episode here at the channel. But yeah, no, looking forward to it, man. See you later. Thank you for watching. Stay cinematic. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye.